impossible. All right. I'm thinking a quick stream here. I do have somewhere to be after this. I also really need the restroom, so let's try to make this one quick here, boys. Huh? Just make sure I've got everything. Okay. Yeah. Oh wait. What up, Phoenix Suns fans? The Suns win their third game straight and finally get back to 500 on the season. Final score Suns 120 to the Charlotte Hornets 113. We will talk all about this win and more in just a second.
Gorgeous move from Bradley Beal.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Devin Booker with the clutch three.
What a great Suns win that the team just pulled together right now. I've gone on a lot about it. The Suns' main weakness here is rebounding and defense, and I've just kind of put those two things together because the Suns don't really have any strong centers. Yusuf Nurkic was the answer. Plumlee certainly isn't the answer. He just shows a lot of hustle, which this team does need. Oso is there, but he still makes a lot of mistakes on defense, and he's not really like a ball swatting rim protector yet. So there's a lot to go wrong with our center rotation right now, and that sets up the picture for what you need tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. If you failed to watch our last Sun game against the Charlotte Hornets, that one ended up with a less better picture, as we did end up losing that one by 11. So to come back in this one uh, with just better energy, especially on a back to back, and taking down a Hornets team that had 2 days of I'm not too sure about 2 days of rest, um, but just had a lot of days of rest. They had about a week, 5 days of just rest because they were supposed to be scheduled for a bunch of LA games, Lakers and the Clippers, but those have been postponed because of everything that's going on with LA right now. So they've had these past days off, and that led to them coming into this game extra rejuiced, regenerated, because they basically had a long break. So Hornets, they simply shot the ball crazy tonight. That's usually one thing you don't find about the Hornets numbers, but unfortunately, it's something that the Suns let happen as they almost for a whole half there, they were shooting 50% from about everywhere on the court. It was looking really bad. Problem number one, the Suns were always running into that I already mentioned is the center issue. Mark Williams and Nick Richards are just way too long for the Suns, and they're able to generate so many layups, so many putbacks, so many rebounds for the Charlotte Hornets that the Suns can't do anything about, really. I mean, what are you supposed to do against a skyscraper? There's not much you could do other than just being physically tall out there. And it allows for more things like fouls on offense, which really slow down the things. And that generally is what led to tonight's explosive effort from Mark Williams that had 24 points, 16 rebounds. It's embarrassing having him go that crazy on us, but I mean, what were the Suns really supposed to do? Plumlee tried his best out there, although he's old. Quite frankly, quite bluntly, he does show off a lot of hustle, but against young centers like this, against the Hornets, he's just a step too late in everywhere he goes. So that's what led us to playing Oso for a lot of tonight. So big minutes from Oso. Mason Plumlee, just to finish up his starting lineup real quick. He had 2 points, 5 rebounds, really great efforts. Although most of his plays were just frustrating. He didn't get that many rebounds because of Charlotte's bigs, and he had a lot of frustrating putbacks that he could have definitely had, but he just mishandled. Um, Oso on the other hand, played such a huge part in tonight's game, especially in the fourth quarter. 10.6 rebounds and was 3 of 3, and he had two huge free throws in the fourth quarter during the Suns' amazing fourth quarter comeback. I forget the numbers here, but they had a huge run to end this game. Exactly what the Suns needed to come back. They were keeping it close, although the Hornets have been shooting great. The Suns were playing great defense all together and slowly dragging down their shooting number throughout the game. I mean, Charlotte, they can it's a lot of problems having them rebound. That's always going to be their one crutch that they're always going to lean on, but having them shoot 40 and 50% from 3, that's an even bigger problem. Luckily for the Suns, the shooting on the perimeter is one thing they could control, and they controlled it as the Hornets ended the night with 37% from the 3 point, and that allowed what the Suns to get back into tonight's game. As like I said, rebounding, you can't really do that much against that. They still lost that horribly. The Charlotte Hornets had 52 rebounds to the Suns 39. So that is just to paint the picture of how crazy the difference between those two things are. But it was 16 turnovers that the Hornets did that allowed the Suns to get 26 points off of that. Suns, they had 12 turnovers, so glad we got the turnover situation controlled. A lot of bad ones though that led to 10 points being concealed over to the Hornets. So that was just an overview of the game. A really just beautiful game at the end there. The Suns, they've been playing great. I'm not going to come here and say, oh, the Suns, they barely won against the Charlotte Hornets. Oh, you only won by 7 points against the Charlotte Hornets. Because we still won at the end of the day. I mean, we really needed this game. The Suns, I already mentioned it, they're back to 500 now on the season. We're back to an even score, and the Hornets, give them credit, dude. They've got a lot of good things going for them. Their rebounding is one thing that they've been really good in the league for, and they've got a bright future in Lamelo Ball and Brandon Miller. All right. So it's just that rebounding that was the biggest concern. I'm emphasizing this so many times because it really is the biggest problem that the Suns face tonight if they really wanted to beat the Hornets. Some of that was luck, as you know, during the final moments of this game, the Suns were able to corral a lot of crucial rebounds by basically swarming the paint. I don't know if you guys saw that, but by the end there was like four Suns crashing for that board. Wish we could see that all the time, but at least we got to see it for when it really mattered. Um, so really great effort from all of that. Uh, just Suns still played amazingly. Let's just look away from the rebounding and um, that failure in that department, as the Suns played really great. The big three showed out once again. Devin Booker was tonight's game scorer leader with 30 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Just been enjoying his game recently. His mid range has been really great recently, elite, and his 3 points have now started to fall. And I think he's hitting a good medium of finding enough good shots that are starting to fall. You know, KD, 27 points, very clutch during the final points of that game. 8 rebounds for him, 5 assists. Uh, and Bradley Bill coming off of the bench just gave up another great night for our bench captain. He led the bench with his 15 points and 3 rebounds and 6 assists. And basically, early on in this game, it should go without mentioning that he basically gave a spark to the Suns offense. Suns came out flat during this start of the first quarter for the Suns. But Bradley Bill, when he was subbed in, he was able to get the Suns back on track and make it a game again. So huge credit towards towards Bill. I mean, it might not even show that much, but he was a plus 19, so that is a really big difference maker for everything outside of the numbers that Bradley Bill has done. Um, I I wonder what the room temp is on this. So I'm asking you, Suns fans, should we trade for Jimmy Butler now? Is this a thing? It's now officially 5 games that the Sun or yeah, 5 games. It's been about 5 games with this new Bradley Bill on the bench strategy lineup. Bradley Bill becoming our sixth man. Do we need Jimmy Butler anymore? I mean, really, if you've really been watching the games, it's really becoming inefficient as just Bradley Bill has been willing to step down from his starting duties. He seems to enjoy it. He says from all the interviews that's a change of pace, but that's to be expected. And he's showing the numbers and just overall balancing this team a lot more offensively and able to bring a new energy if the Suns come out, if the starting lineup comes out flat like he did tonight. During these last 5 games, the Suns are now 4-1. So 4 wins, 1 loss ever since we've tried this new lineup strat. So I ask you again, Suns fans, Jimmy Butler or no? I don't really see the purpose of it anymore. Do we really need a Jimmy Butler on this team? So that's the big three. They've just amazing nights from all of them. I mean, you could fault some parts about them, but they all really came out and played their parts during the correct moments in this time. KD had a slow half, but he picked it up in the second. So did Booker. I mean, he had a pretty good first half. Kind of faded in the second, but came back in the third for a bit, and Bill played his part. So overall, this was the main idea. I think a big three is all about having the big three come in and show their moments every time. You know, basically having a member of the big three always on the floor and be able to give something to the team, and that's really what we saw tonight. Just a balanced effort from everyone, and even the people surrounding them. We'll get into the rest of the starters now. Mason Plumley, I already talked about him. I don't need to talk about Mason Plumley, and I've talked about Oso. Both of them very crucial. Plumley had a bad first half, but he kind of saved it in there in the second, as he got a steal and a couple of blocks. But I mean, overall, a pretty bad night. Oso is the main headliner for tonight. He played really great energy and was able to basically go to toe to toe with Nick Richards, I believe, is what he was matched up most of tonight with. Um, so very good on that. I mean, Durant also shared some time on Mark Williams and Nick Richards because they're kind of both the same height. So really, the Suns' issues now is center. Go get him, Suns. That's what we need. Okay. Ryan Dunn also showed some great energy defensively. His offense was really amazing tonight. Something we really needed. 4 of 3 from the arc, and 4 of 5 from the game. He had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and it's just another night, dude, where these rookies are just amazing thing for the Suns and a bright spot that we really needed. Can you really imagine a season this season without the rooks? They just give so much energy out there and so much fight on this team. And like I said, they keep everything balanced in terms of age and just energy out on the courts, which is the Suns' big lacking um, part. So luckily, they are able to come in and pretty much supply the Suns with that. The last starter we'll touch on is Tyus Jones. Now, Tyus Jones is a an interesting topic. 5 assists, 3 points, 2 turnovers, one of three, I should say, and 1 of 5. So that 3 pointer was the only point he made from the game. Honestly, I'm not seeing um, his role. I was arguing to resign him in December when his shooting numbers were crazy. But I've come to realize that that's basically the role that the Suns have put him down in, because Book and KD and Beal, they just have so much gravity during these parts of the games that most of the defense is going to go over to them to double team them, which just naturally leaves a guy open. So that naturally starts your offense for the whole play. Tyus Jones doesn't really do anything like CP3 kind of his finding weaknesses in the defense or during fast breaks because he really doesn't get that ball in his hands that much. So I mentioned this before in past episodes. He's not a ball handler. He's not a playmaker. So what he's not a defender, importantly. So that leaves his only role as being just a shot maker. It was fine during December when his shooting numbers were really crazy. He had a really good December shooting wise, but now that we're into January and it's been a couple of games and Tyus Jones hasn't been finding his 3 point stroke that often, it's always 3 point strokes too. It's never layups anymore. I mean, that's also just a part of the Hornets defense that he couldn't really get that much layups opportunities in the paint. So that leaves him just being a 3 point shooter, and those aren't falling. So that is the reason why Tyus Jones has turned out to be so ineffective, I'd say, useless in these last couple of games, and just not that overall much of a role player that we've basically reduced to him now. So tough part on his end for that. And that's it for the starters. Just another great game from everyone except Tyus and Plumlee, I would say. But everyone did their part. As I would say that we had a huge night from this bench. I'm starting to really love this bench. I mean, Bradley Bill, he's just always unfair. It's kind of unfair having him on the bench out there. It's just always having putting up Bill, this starter player against these bench players. Like it's just always it's such a better fit for him, and he's absolutely destroying it, giving this team so much more energy, and he's loving his role. 50 points off the bench for him, and like I said, he was the bench leader, made a huge difference. Plus 19. Also, I've already talked about him in his 10th points. Also plus 19. Both of them really effective. Grayson Allen, who got 13 points and didn't see much of the floor that second half, mostly because probably defense. But he came out tonight and gave the Suns some huge shots from three. I'm sure I didn't mention it that much last game because I didn't really think it would be that huge of a deal. But I guess it kind of is. But what I'm referring to is last game of Grayson Allen basically running towards the rim and doing this Michael Jordan esque up and under into the hoop. It was amazing, and I didn't bring it up that much then, but I'm bringing it up now. And this game, he had a freaking 4 point play. So I don't know what has been going on with Grayson Allen recently, but his offense game has just bumped up to another level, and I'm here for it. I love every single moment he's out there. He's got 13 points, 3 of 6 from three, just a really amazing part. But I mean, it's his defense, I would assume, is the reason he didn't see that much of the floor during that second half. So yeah, but I still love it. I still love what he was able to do out there. And finally, for our last bench guy of the nights, we have to talk about Royce O'Neal, who hasn't seen the floor in quite a while. I don't know how many games it's been, but he went out for an ankle injury. I want to say the Indiana game. It may have been later than that. Probably Golden State, actually, maybe of last year. Point is that it's been a while for Royce O'Neal, and I believe in a pregame interview of him, or it was like of Mike Boltenhauser, they said he was rusty, and that's basically what I describe Royce O'Neal as, rusty. He had two huge threes in the fourth, but before that he was 0 of 4 from three, and just generally couldn't find his shooting stroke, even though he had a couple open looks there. He had 9 points to end the night. Um, those two threes that I already mentioned, and he had an amazing, classic, what I would describe classic Royce O'Neal play, where he was on the arc, he got the pump fake, faked Nick Richards out of him, drove to the rim, laid it up for an and one. I mean, that's just classic Royce O'Neal. If you don't know ball, you don't know ball. But that was awesome to see Royce kind of get his stride back. He had his awful shooting night. I've always complained about him being streaky, but hopefully he could pick it up now that he's finally playing again. Um, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. I'm so high on Royce O'Neal. If you don't know why I'm so high on Royce O'Neal, if you watch the game, he probably didn't, you know, make that much of a difference to you out there as he wasn't really scoring like big numbers. But I mean, he was a plus 25 out there. Yeah, that's his defense and his size out there, just clamping up the Hornets. Literally, some of our best lineups, some of our best lineups that the Suns have are with Royce or Nil. So just getting him back is a crucial bench piece. I saw a lot of Suns fans hating on him for some reason, even though he was a part of the lineups early on in this game that ended up making a huge comeback um, early on. And I believe he was even out there during when we were making the comeback last push in the fourth quarter. So Royce O'Neal, welcome back. What a game for him to do to fill in corners. And I can't wait to see more of him. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of arguments you could probably make about the Suns here about certain players not playing. Oh, if you're saying that the Hornets are so long uh, and defensively, and we're having trouble defending them in the paint, why not throw our guy Bol out there? Which my answer would be defense is his problem, as he doesn't really play that much defense. And I also think it was a size issue, as because Mark Williams, pretty big, 7 foot. Bol's also 7 foot, but he's a toothpick in comparison to Mark Williams. So I'm assuming that's why they didn't put him out there. Mostly because of he'd probably get pushed around. He'd be snapped like a toothpick if he went out there against him. Which why do we have him then? If that's the reasoning for Bol, why do we have him on this team? If that's the reason, I don't want to say that, but like going into trade season, we do have to start looking at our roster more in depth. Bol, I don't know how many games he's played, but it's been about like two that I've seen him in. So yeah, another argument that I could see being made out there was Josh Kogi. Why didn't he get any minutes? Um, I I I don't know. I would have preferred if he came in for Tyus Jones in certain minutes, but I'm guessing also assuming that it was also a matchup problem because Josh Okogie is also one of our smallest guys. Sure, he shows a lot of effort and defense, and can sometimes score. He's a little more streaky than Royce O'Neal when it comes to his scoring ability. But I can't imagine a Kogi doing much against Nick Richards or Mark Williams, which is what he would probably be switched on to, that the Hornets would take advantage of a lot of the times, and he'd probably foul a lot. So unfortunate for Josh Kogi. I like me some Josh Kogi. I have nothing wrong against the guy. But I mean, with certain trade rumors going around now, it sounds like Josh Kogi might also be gone. I mean, he signed a huge contract extension to begin the offseason, so I don't see why not. We could use him as a trading chip. So unfortunate. We didn't see any minutes from Monte Morris. Also, uh, probably same reasons as Ty. It's probably just too short. Can't have uh, whatever. Suns get the win now. We will now look at our upcoming games. The Suns are now 19 and 19 on the season. We're perfect 100. We have a 3 game winning streak, people. And I am also happy to mention here that with the 19 and 19 record, the Suns are now the 10th seed. We are officially out of the elimination category as we take the Warriors' place in the 10th seed. We have a 3 game winning streak. We're 5 of 5 in our last 10. More importantly, we're 4-1 in our last 5. The comeback starts now. And looking even more ahead, our next game will be on Tuesday, January the 14th. That's against Atlanta. Then we have Washington. So those are two also easy games. We've already proven ourselves against the Atlanta team. So literally, unless Atlanta like catches fire from three, it should be another easy win. Washington is Washington. Enough said about that. But then after that, it does get a little concerning with Detroit, who have been really good. They are not a trash team. Let me emphasize that now. You got to come to terms. You got to come to reality. If you still think Detroit's a bad team, they're not. And then we have Cleveland after that, who is currently, I think, like the best team, the best record, the team with the best record right now. They are 33-5. What I'd wish to be there right now. But the Suns get the win, 3 games in a row. That's all I have for you guys today. So I'll leave you here. Next Suns game Tuesday against the Atlanta Hawks. That's where we begin our 5 game road trip. Hope you guys enjoy your night out there. Let's go Suns. Suns up. Another win. So yeah, if you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. So I want to thank you guys all for that. We just passed 300 subscribers. So it's been awesome. But we'll be back here with more Phoenix Suns content for you when every game. So thank you again, and we'll see you Tuesday. Good night.
Kevin Durant delivers. Gorgeous move for Bradley Beal.